like most people, I was first interested in space as a young child, right? You grow up and there's all this education programming for people in school, children in school, that gets you interested in space. And keep in mind, I grew up in the 80s. So as I'm going in and I'm entering into the school system, the shuttle program's just taking off, literally. And so it's this new, dude, we're making a space plane. That's what we're doing. How awesome is that? We made a plane that can go to space. It's going to fly 50 times a year. It's going to revolutionize everything. I'm a little kid. I don't know. I'm just like, a space plane. But I loved it. I ate it up. I had the little plastic or metal model of the shuttle. I remember playing with it during launches. It was awesome. That's when I got excited about space. But like most people, I think a majority of people, you have this excitement of space as a child, and it's really hard to continue that excitement momentum all through your entire school career, if you will. So it started waning in middle school, and it got less and less towards high school, and by the time I left high school, it was gone, or seemingly gone. Hardly anything was left, and I didn't care anymore. And there are many different things I can blame. This shuttle got routine. Maybe that was it. I don't know. My peers didn't really care. Maybe that was it. Whatever it was. And many years later, I got into television. And so many years later, I'm doing a video podcast. And I needed to kind of change focus. And I wanted to pick a new topic. I'd been doing technology. But by the time I wanted to change focus, we already had This Week in Tech on the scene. We had Callie Lewis doing, I forgot the name of her show, but she was doing something. There was these huge players in the field, and there was no possibility for me to compete. And so I said, well, let's do something on exploration. And I had heard a little bit earlier that the space shuttle was going to be retired. And I'm like, that's blasphemy. I grew up with the space shuttle. It's a space plane. You can't retire the space shuttle. And I thought, well, wait. It's an old space plane. I grew up with a space shuttle. I wouldn't want to drive a car that was that old. Would I want to fly to space in a vehicle that was that old? And then I got to thinking, I don't know anything about this space plane. So then I started doing some research, and I realized, actually, maybe it was time. And I started looking into this, and there was no really good programming for people like me. There was no inspirational stuff for people out of school. There just wasn't that content. You can go to NASA stuff, but it was boring. It was painfully boring. And that's where Spacevidcast was born. I wanted to do something exploration-based. We kind of talked about doing oceans, but space made sense too as we started looking into it. And then space made a lot of sense as I started realizing that there's a lot of information out there that I think not a lot of people know. And the interesting thing that happened was, as I started researching the space shuttle, that excitement that I had as a kid for space, it got sparked back up. And now it's this huge torch of excitement that you just cannot put out. And I want to give that to other people. I want to give them the excitement that they once had for space as a child. I want to give that back to them. And maybe they disagree with me on what company should do something next. Maybe they think that makerspace is the next big thing, and I don't think it is. Or maybe they think that, yeah, we should bring back another space shuttle, and that would be awesome. As long as they're excited, I don't care. We're allowed to disagree all day long, and that's what Spacevidcast was born out of. That's a very roundabout way of getting to your question.
And what was the time frame when you guys first started Spacevidcast?
We're in season 5, which would be, and Carrie Ann and I always disagree about this, but I guess that'd be 4 years ago, because unlike a baby, where a baby is born at 0 and then 1 year later is 1, we start at 1. So season 5, 4 years ago, so 2008-ish. STS-119, I believe, was our first big launch. And we kind of got started with, if you remember back in the day, NASA only streamed with Windows Media, and it was painful. It sucked. If you wanted to watch a shuttle launch, you had to watch it, this big in Windows Media, and it was terrible. And so we said, we can do this better. And so we made something that was this big, but it was in Flash, and then you could see it on just about anything. And then we said, well, we can do this better yet. And NASA had just started a secret HD satellite channel that they didn't advertise to anyone, but we found it. And so we're like, we can broadcast this. And so we were the first entity, so far as I know, the first entity on the web to broadcast shuttle launches in high definition, years before NASA did. And so everyone was like, dude, I can watch this in HD. And then after that, we're like, we can bring interactivity to this. We can get people talking about this. So we added interactivity. So far as I know, we're still the only ones that do that. We've been doing that for years. That's kind of our secret sauce, as it were. Now I've told everyone how to replicate Spacevidcast. Just do what we did. But that's how it was all born out. And now that the shuttle's gone, we continue our weekly shows, get people excited. We interact with them live in real time. But then we also continue to do launches. We're doing the NewSpace 2012 conferences live and letting people interact on Twitter. So you watch the conference, you couldn't make it here, but you're still excited about space. Tweet your question, they'll ask your question on stage, maybe, assuming it's not a stupid question.